On today's edition of Cronkite Sports Live, Leon Marchand made a splash in the swimming world this morning with news that he is turning pro. We'll have more details on the latest development for Sun Devil Swim.
The Diamond Devils, both on multi-game losing streaks, how do they turn their seasons around as they come down to the wire with Utah?
And ASU wide receivers coach Rashad Samples has departed Tempe for Oregon. How the loss impacts the Devils and who are some potential candidates to replace him. It's all coming up on Cronkite Sports Live.
Blake, we head to the Diamond, Arizona State and Grand Canyon. If Yankees-Mets is the Subway Series, this is the Valley Metro Series. ASU winners in Game 1, but GCU off to a great start in Game number 2. Trevor Wilson slapping an RBI single, gets Grand Canyon on the board early at home. Well, Kevin Karstetter returned to the lineup in this game for the first time in a while, and he made himself known right away. Top of the third, ropes an RBI double down the left field line, notches the game even at 1 apair as Isaiah Jackson cruises on home. The Sun Devils would take the lead later in that top of the third. Brandon Compton poking one through the right side, puts Arizona State on top, score a 2-1 ASU. A lot of defense in this game. We'll pick the offense back up in the bottom of the 6th. We're now tied 2-2, and Tyler Wilson able to give the Lopes the lead. He shoots one into right field. He finished 3 for 4, 3 RBIs, and it is a 3-2 Lopes lead. Unfortunately, well, things just got even worse for Arizona State in this inning. GCU puts up 3 in the bottom of the 6th. That is Maxwell Andeal on a base hit. Zach York comes in to score. Top of the 9th, ASU trying to mount a late rally. Harris Williams, he is unable to be the hero. Grounds into a game-ending double play. Grand Canyon wins 5-3. Willie Bloomquist, he wasn't very happy post-game. Surprise, surprise.
We didn't play well tonight. End of the day, bottom line, there were some good things that we did, but there was also some things that just are, routine stuff that we're not getting done.
Well, with ASU just scoring 3 runs on 10 hits, it's clear there's something going wrong with the offense. So for more on that, we welcome in WCSN baseball reporter Max Cepeda. And Max, with ASU having such high expectations coming into this season for its offense, they lived up to a lot of them in non-conference action, but through Pac-12 play, it's been up and down and haven't been able to formulate consistent wins. So what's going wrong for the Devils at the plate?
Well, in many ways, you just look at the numbers by themselves, Blake. You would think that the offense is still doing well. They're still top 3 in a lot of the categories. You would think that a lot of that has led to wins. I mean, heck, 28 runs in their last 5 games. That should lead to wins most of the time. However, really, it's the clutch situations for me where they've been really underperforming. 45 runners left on base over the last 5. Obviously, it's led to that 1-4 record, the only win being that walk-off win against GCU last week at Phoenix Muni. But really, overall, it's just been the inconsistency when it comes to runners in scoring position, bases loaded situations. 4 different bases loaded situations alone in the last 4 at the Oregon State series. And then, of course, at GCU on Tuesday, only 1 combined run scored on all of those 4 situations. The offense is going to have to get through how they're going to score in those situations, because they're not just going to have long ball offense that's going to win you every single game. And especially with how the pitching has struggled this year, the offense is now going to have to overperform in a year where we constantly heard 15 guys deep, 16 guys deep. It might have to be 20 guys deep, and there might not be that many guys on this actual roster to fulfill what the offense needs to do going forward.
And you mentioned some of those struggles on the mound. ASU's had its hand dealt offensively a little bit due to some of that youth and inexperience on the hill, but also injuries have played part. So what's the status on some of those injuries that have played out for the Devils?
No, absolutely. The linchpin really for this Sun Devils starting rotation at least has been Thomas Burns. He has been out since March 22nd with an injury. Obviously, Washington State was the last time he was on the mound, but obviously the guys around him haven't just necessarily been performing up to that standard. Tyler Meyer, of course, hasn't been on the mound since his woeful performance against UNLV, only able to record 1 out. Ben Jacobs coming off of his worst start of the year this past weekend against Oregon State. And then, of course, Connor Markle, who has been one of the more consistent arms for Sun Devil pitching, he's been battling through an injury while healthy. So it's one of those things where the Sun Devil arms have kind of just been a rotating roller coaster, to say the least. And because of that, it's led to the numbers that they're putting out. 9.98 ERA, which is, of course, a worst in the pack when it comes to starting ERA. When it comes to series clinching games, whether it's on Saturday or Sunday, most of the time on Sunday, 12.5 ERA on series clinching games. But of course, ASU, an opportunity to set the tone tonight. We don't know who's going to be on the mound tonight. Could be Adam Behrens, could be even Markle, who's normally a Saturday guy. So it's going to be very interesting to see where Sam Peraza and the pitching staff at least leans towards when it comes to the series this weekend.
And ASU knows it's not going to be a rollover series against Utah like it has been in years past. The Utes are out to their best start to 20 wins in program history. So what do the Utah bring to the table, and how do they stack up against the Devils?
Well, this is certainly a more even matchup than it has been in past years, Blake. I mean, Utah is 1 win away from tying their entire overall win total from 2023 when they just had 22 wins in all of 2023. And really, it's kind of been a turnover on both sides of the ball. On the offense, it's been led by Kai Roberts. Kai Roberts has really been their true arm that has really been proving out there. He has a .370 batting average. He not only is great at the plate, but he's also great on the base pads, leads the Pac-12 in stolen bases with 21, tied the program record at Utah with 52 in that category. And then on the mound, Bryson Van Sickle, last year 3-5 with a 5.59 ERA. Not great, right? This year, 2.95 ERA, number 8 in the pack overall, 2.08 in Pac-12 play. And by the way, this is one nugget here. Utah's defense has been about above average overall this season on the fielding side, but when Bryson Van Sickle has been on the mound in Pac-12 play, not a single error given up by his defense. Going to be very interesting to see what he does, considering he will probably be the probable starter tonight. He started most Fridays for the Utes, and of course, with ASU's pitching situation, not necessarily we're sure where it's going to be. We know what Utah's offense and starter is most likely going to be tonight, but it's going to be about if ASU can step up on the occasion in a situation where they're going to need to, as they've been waving around 500 all year.
Max, always great talking ball with you, buddy. First pitch tonight between ASU and Utah is set for 6:30 at Phoenix Municipal Stadium.
Blake, I'm sorry to report the struggles aren't just at Muni. Sun Devils softball has gone just under a month with Yaya Acuna, and the offense simply hasn't been the same. They've lost 9 of their last 11. They returned to Farrington this weekend with a 2-11 record in conference play. It's a team struggling to find their way with the postseason rapidly approaching. For more on those struggles, here's Jacob Schenker.
It is very rare to see one athlete make such an impact for their team that the entire organization lies on their shoulders. For ASU softball, that player is sophomore outfielder Yaya Acuna. The Sun Devils opened up Pac-12 play with a respectable 14-5 record, which increased optimism within the team. The Sun Devils began Pac-12 play by taking a game against number 5 Washington. ASU kept this determined mindset and got another win the following game, but disaster struck in the next. On March 15th, ASU softball faced off against Oregon State, where Yaya Acuna went down with a leg injury and is out for the remainder of the season. Since then, the team would go on to have a 2-11 record without her. Acuna's consistent at-bat made her so crucial for the Sun Devils, as she put up a respectable .382 batting average. Her speed made her a force to be reckoned with on both offense and defense, stealing 11 bases. With the absence of Acuna in the lineup, the offense took a major hit. Before Acuna's injury, the team was hitting an impressive .323 batting average, which kept them in contention with the rest of the Pac-12. Since the injury, the Sun Devils have averaged a .205 batting average. This dropped them to the 7th worst in the Pac-12. Additionally, they have been averaging 2.3 runs compared to the 6.2 runs they were averaging pre-Yaya's injury. This past weekend, they were shut out in every game against Stanford and only had 10 hits in the series. ASU softball plays at home this weekend for the first time in almost a month, as they try to get their 3rd Pac-12 win on the season. What the team needs most now is consistency and reliability. While Yaya should be back next season, Arizona State needs to create a better sense of comfortability and confidence so they can be successful with or without her. For Cronkite Sports, I'm Jacob Schenker.
At just 29 years old, Rashad Samples is one of the most promising head coach prospects in the country. After becoming the youngest position coach in the NFL for the LA Rams, he came back to the college game to join Kenny Dillingham's first staff at ASU. But now just last week, Samples left Tempe in the middle of spring ball for Eugene, where he will inch 1 inch closer to his ultimate goal as the assistant head coach and running backs coach at Oregon. Kenny Dillingham on the impact Samples had.
Yeah, Rashad did an unbelievable job for us. Nothing but respect for Coach Rashad and everything he did. He built an unbelievable room. He helped us get off the ground here. So nothing but respect. He's going to a great place with a great person. Dan Landon came to my wedding. Great people there. Nothing but positive things to say. Thankful for him being here. And I still think he has such a bright future in this profession, and I'm rooting for him. And I wish him nothing but the best.
We are now joined by WCSN football reporter Gabby Chernoff. And Gabby, with how Samples helped revitalize ASU's receivers, it's safe to say that he is going to be a lost presence felt in that room. So how does this departure impact the Sun Devils?
Absolutely, Blake. I mean, this is a guy who's widely considered one of the best recruiters in the country, and his efforts in just one season with the Sun Devils earned him very high praise from head coach Kenny Dillingham. Says he's capable of going and running a program all by himself right now if he wanted to, which he does eventually in the future. But a couple of his big gets while he was with the Sun Devils include Jordan Tyson. Now, Jordan Tyson was a star receiver in his true freshman season with the Colorado Buffaloes, and Tyson says that it hurts his heart that he's gone because he's the one who brought him here. And then you have Troy O'Meara, very heavily sought after in high school. Him and Samples both ended up at Texas. They built that relationship there, carried it to Tempe. So two very talented guys that Samples was able to bring to the Sun Devils. So that's where his absence will be felt the most. And it's already kind of coming to fruition for ASU in the form of the #1 ranked recruit in all of Arizona, wide receiver Cooper Perry, class of 2025. Now, ASU and Oregon were among Perry's top choices of places to go to school. And then one day after Samples announced he was going to Oregon, you know who else announced they were going to Oregon? Cooper Perry. That timing probably not a coincidence. He says Coach Samples is my guy, and he knows that with Samples at Oregon, it'll make him a better player as well. So a big hole to fill for Kenny Dillingham right now.
Well, case in point there, Samples is an elite recruiter along with being a great coach. Those traits are hard to replace in college football, but Kenny Dillingham said he is narrowing down a list of finalists and is nearing a decision on who his next Whitehouse coach will be. So Gabby, who are some of the candidates that could be in the mix for the job?
Yeah, when asked about the kind of guy he wants to fill the position, Kenny Dillingham said he wants a guy with experience for his guys to listen to. Someone who his players can look at and say, hey, you've been where I want to go, you've done what I want to do, so I'm going to listen to you. So amongst the candidates right now are Hines Ward and Troy Brown. Now, Troy Brown is a 3-time Super Bowl champion in his 15 seasons with the New England Patriots, and he's been the Patriots wide receiver coach since 2021. He was spotted on campus in Tempe on Monday. And then in Hines Ward, you have a guy who's widely considered one of the best receivers of the 2000s, 2-time Super Bowl champ with the Pittsburgh Steelers, 1 Super Bowl MVP at Super Bowl 40. His coaching resume includes with the Steelers and the New York Jets, as well as Florida Atlantic University, and most recently the head coach of the San Antonio Brahmas in the XFL. So 2 guys with a lot of playing and coaching experience. Until that position is filled, though, head coach Kenny Dillingham said it's going to be him and assistant coach Brady White who are spending the most time with that receiver group in practice.
Thanks so much for that perspective and information, Gabby. It should be interesting to see how this void is filled for Kenny Dillingham. And while ASU football is just gearing up for its season, Sun Devil water polo is coming to a close with a senior day top 10 clash on tap for ASU as the number 10 Sun Devils square off against the number 4 USC Trojans this Saturday. The Devils and Women of Troy are nearly identical in every statistical category, putting ASU on paper to potentially pull off just its second win over USC in 40 tries. For more on this high-stakes regular season finale, we go out to Aiden O'Neill at Mona Plummer.
Just 3 months ago, Arizona State Water Polo embarked on their 22nd season as a program, their second under head coach Petra Party. Entering Saturday to celebrate the seniors in Tempe, the success has been off the charts. The Sun Devils have posted a 22-6 record in 2024, led by the veteran presence of Lutza Patovari, the best goal scorer in the country with 117 on the season. She will be celebrated alongside 3 of her teammates on Saturday, a mark in history. Despite the success, the SoCal foe entering Tempe this weekend has had ASU's number. USC leads the all-time head-to-head matchup 38-1. with the only Sun Devil win coming in 2008. This year, the Trojans are 16-5 and are the 4th best team in the entire country, presenting a daunting test for Coach Party. As the matchup enters its next chapter, both teams have aspirations of securing an MPSF title and a bid in the NCAA tournament. This weekend is the preview. Guys.
Well, the team portion of the season may be over for Arizona State Gymnastics, but the Gym Devils will send 2 participants to the national championships. Anaya Smith has been exceptional on the vault during her time in Tempe, and now she's preparing to go out as a national champion. WCSN Gymnastics reporter Parker Perrell has more on the legacy she'll leave in the desert.
After a loss at NCAA Regionals, the Gym Devils' 2024 campaign came to a close, but senior Anaya Smith will get one more chance in the spotlight before her collegiate career ends as a vault specialist. Typically found in the anchor slot, Smith was one of 2 Sun Devils to qualify for the NCAA Championships in Fort Worth, and she's looking for a storybook ending to her 4-year highlight-filled career. Starting with her most recent season high, in February 2024, the top 2 teams in the country, Oklahoma and Cal, entered Tempe for a try-meet. Smith scored a 9.950 on vault, which was good enough to tie for the event title on vault and helped aid ASU to a final score of 197.250, its second highest score of the season. 9.950 was the highest score achieved by Anaya Smith while at ASU, a feat she achieved twice in 2023. The first one of these instances occurred in the meet against Arizona, which was the highest score achieved by a Sun Devil since 2008. This second 9-9-5-0 occurred later in the year at NCAA Regional Finals in Pittsburgh, where Smith tied her career high on vault and tied the highest score at that meet. In her freshman season in 2021, Anaya Smith matched her then career high performance at Pac-12s with a 9.925. This score placed her second in the championships and capped off a year where she would finish with all Pac-12 first team honors on vault. These highlights are ones that Sun Devil fans will remember for years to come. And even with Anaya Smith's time in the maroon and gold coming to a close, ASU fans will still have a chance to see her perform individually as she'll head to Fort Worth to compete against the top competitors in the NCAA.
Hey, it's Masters Week, everybody, and the reigning green jacket winner is former Sun Devil golfer Jon Rahm. Before Rahm was racking up majors, he made his name known at one of college golf's great traditions, the Thunderbird Invitational, with a still record-standing 54-hole score. This year's tournament is taking place as we speak, and so we welcome in our Sam Goodman live at Papago Golf Course for an update on where the Devils stand thus far. Hey, Sam, what's going on?
Thanks, Blake. And Arizona State Men's Golf is currently hosting the annual Thunderbird Collegiate here at Papago Golf Club, where the team has a one-stroke lead at 15 under. It was Preston Summerhays' 67 in round one that gave the Sun Devils a close shot, and then Riggs Johnson stuck 2 birdies in round two to give the Sun Devils the lead. Now, this event is extremely challenging. That's why it projects so well to the pros, as 16 former Thunderbird winners have gone on to win on the PGA Tour. Now, the current group would love to add themselves to that list and to the likes of Jon Rahm and Phil Mickelson, who are currently competing at the Masters and are part of 6 Thunderbird winners who have gone on to win major tournaments. The last year, Sun Devils swept this tournament with Preston Summerhays winning the individual and team title. Now the Sun Devils have an opportunity to go back-to-back for the first time since 2017 and 18. Guys?
It'll sure be fun both watching the amateurs and the professionals compete out on the course this weekend. Thanks so much for that, Sam. ASU women's tennis #1 in singles Julia Morley just made her return to the court this past weekend after a 3-week hiatus due to a calf strain. As a result, the Sun Devils completed their first weekend sweep of the season. Here's 40-year head coach Sheila McInerney on the impact of the return on Morley on the team.
Yeah, it makes a big difference. I mean, in tennis, it's different than other sports. When your #1's out, it moves everybody else up. And she's such a good player anyway. She wins a lot of matches up there, so it makes a huge difference in both singles and doubles. So yeah, it's a relief to have her back, and hopefully we'll get Mariana maybe back tomorrow, and have sort of the full team, but one day at a time.
Morley's return is going to be a huge lift for the Sun Devil tennis squad. And with that, we're going to send it over to our Alex Martinez in studio for more on how she can uplift the Devils through the rest of this season.
Last weekend, a 4-0 sweep of number 25 Washington capped off ASU women's tennis's first weekend sweep of the entire year. A huge reason for the big win is the return of the Sun Devils' highest-ranked player, Julia Morley. Without Morley, ASU went just 2-4 across 6 matches. Absent their #1 player at the top, every other player had to move up 1 spot. Sophomore Chelsea Fontenelle replaced Morley as the #1 and went just 1-3 in her singles matches. Morley's return sees the 75th ranked singles player come back to the top of a roster that has gone 9-4 with her on the court. The Washington win on Saturday marked ASU's first top 25 win since February 25th over #7 Ohio State, which was also Morley's last match before her calf injury. The Sun Devils are now looking to extend their 3-game win streak to 4 as they are currently playing in Salt Lake City against Utah, and on Sunday they will face off in Boulder against Colorado. Guys?
The road to Gulf Shores is on for Sun Devil Beach Volleyball. They continue this historic season. For those that haven't kept up with the program, went across town to find their new head coach. Kristen Rohr has begun her tenure with ASU by leading the team to their best winning percentage in program history, the second most wins in program history, and the most ranked wins to go right along with it. Lots of work still to do in the sand, and for more on that, here's WCSN Beach Volleyball reporter Shay Maloney.
2 weeks still remain before ASU Beach Volleyball kicks off postseason play with the Pac-12 Championship, but multiple records have already been set. The Sand Devils currently sit at an 18-6 record, their best winning percentage in a season by a large margin, and their second highest win total ever. The records began falling from the onset of the season when the team started off with 6 straight victories, the best start to a season in program history, as well as their longest winning streak. After a disappointing 11-13 record last spring, the bounce-back season has been all about the newcomers. Head coach Kristen Rohr is in her first year at the helm and has made an immediate impact. She's led the Devils to yet another record 9 ranked wins, none bigger than the home victory versus the second-ranked Stanford Cardinal during the Pac-12 South Tournament. Instrumental to Rohr's success this season has been fellow newcomers Ava Williamson and Arden Bessaker. Williamson, a true freshman, and Bessaker, a Florida State transfer, have both recorded 20 wins this season, which leads the team. When they were paired together, they had 9 straight dual victories to tie a record set back in 2019. They'll look to continue their impressive first seasons as the postseason nears and nationals become in reach. With an off week this weekend, the Devils will have just 2 duels the following week for a final tune-up before the Pac-12 tournament begins April 24th in Tempe. With one of those matchups being against 17th ranked Arizona, ASU will have a great opportunity to record their 10th ranked victory of the season and further bolster an already great resume.
For Cronkite Sports, I'm Shea Maloney.
Here we go. We got some top plays. ASU spring football. Who knew you could get highlights in practice, but here you go. Troy O'Meara stretching out with one hand, looking like an LSU OBJ. And he did it over a former LSU player in LT Wells.
Yeah, when we're showing practice plays, generally that doesn't mean good things happen. But this was a good thing that happened. Deborah Jones, her 300th strikeout of her career. It didn't go very well, though. The Devils swept in Palo Alto against Stanford.
Well, speaking of getting swept, ASU got swept up in Corvallis, but this was a bright spot from the weekend. Nick McLean shredding in, makes the catch, and then guns out the runner at the plate on the money to Ryan Campos. But the Devils, again, could not come away with a victory as the Beavers bust out the brooms. We'll see if both of the Diamond Devils can turn things around this weekend against the Mountain Utah Utes. But that's going to do it for our show, for our entire studio crew. For my partner, Aiden Blake, I'm Blake Neiman saying enjoy all the golf this weekend. We'll see you next week.